On a blistering summer afternoon, 12-year-old Lily navigated the cracked sidewalks of her small town in her wheelchair, the plastic water bottle in her hand the only relief from the heat. The route home was always the same: uneven pavement, raised slabs, and tiny hazards that turned every trip into a test of patience and grit. Passers-by hurried past. Some glanced, most did not. Children laughed and ran ahead. Few stopped, and fewer still saw her. Lily's family scraped by. Her father worked rotating shifts at a factory. Her mother picked up hours wherever she could, and money for the specialized therapy Lily needed never seemed to exist. They kept a jar of coins hidden above a kitchen cabinet, saving slowly, only to watch those savings vanish when an unexpected bill appeared. Lily understood this better than most kids her age. She overheard the late-night worries, felt the weight of those whispered conversations, and learned early how to shoulder her own burdens so as not to add to theirs. Despite it all, she pushed forward, literally and metaphorically. Every bump in the sidewalk was another small victory, another reminder that she refused to be defined by what she couldn't do. Still, beneath her steady smile, there was a quiet ache. She wanted to belong, to be seen for who she was, not for the wheelchair she used. She wanted to walk into school and be treated like any other kid, not the target of pity or whispers. That afternoon, the heat made the asphalt shimmer. As Lily worked her way down the street, she noticed a man bent over a heavy motorcycle, trying to push it but barely making progress. He was a tough-looking figure, the kind whose presence made strangers step away. But Lily didn't look at him through the lens of fear or stereotype. She saw someone struggling. She slowed and offered him the last of her water. At first he seemed surprised that anyone would stop. He took the bottle with careful hands and drank, each gulp easing the exhaustion from his face. When Lily asked if the bike was dead, he admitted it was and that he couldn't afford a tow. She reached into a pouch on her chair and retrieved her cracked phone. Calmly and efficiently, she called her dad's neighbor, the mechanic, and explained the situation. By the time she hung up, she told the man help was on the way. He crouched so they were eye to eye and asked her why she'd stopped. Lily's answer was simple and quiet, because no one else did. Those words landed heavily with him. In a single small gesture, Lily had given him something he hadn't felt in a long time: dignity. He was used to being judged by his leather vest and the tattoos that told a life story no one bothered to read. People stepped around him. Employers dismissed him at first glance. On the road, his outward image was both shield and prison, but Lily's kindness reminded him there was more beneath the surface. That moment by the stalled Harley was small, but it planted a seed. The biker told his brothers about the girl who'd handed him water and made a call when no one else would. Within their circle, the story spread quickly, not out of pity, but out of genuine recognition. These were men bound by a code of loyalty and respect. They saw in Lily's action a reflection of values they held dear. A few days later, after another day at school, where whispers and careless cruelty followed her, Lily sat near the curb waiting for the crowd to thin. A group of older kids began to taunt her. Their words stung, carving at the resilience she wore like armor. Then the distant low rumble grew louder. Harleys rolled up, one after another, until 6 of them pulled to a stop by the school gates. Then more, until engines filled the street like thunder. The bullies fell silent. Helmets came off, boots hit the pavement, and a ring of men formed around Lily, not to intimidate but to protect. Lily recognized the weary rider from the sidewalk. He didn't shout or show anger. He simply stood there, flanked by others, and their presence spoke louder than any lecture. The taunts evaporated. In that quiet, Lily felt a shift. The balance of power had changed. For the first time in a long time, someone else's presence answered for her. That evening, Lily returned home shaken but strangely peaceful. She couldn't explain why those bikers had intervened, only that something extraordinary had happened. Unknown to her, the story of her kindness had continued to ripple outward. It reached across highways, into diners and gas stations, and through the channels of a brotherhood that kept a promise to repay what it had been given. A thunderous convoy arrived at her house one afternoon. Motorcycles lined the street, engines silenced, riders gathered. Her parents stepped onto the porch, bewildered. The rider who had once struggled with his motorcycle stepped forward with reverence. Men climbed down from a trailer and brought forward a motorized wheelchair, gleaming, custom-built, and painted in a deep purple chosen for her. It was more than a machine, it was mobility and dignity wrapped together. An envelope followed, and inside was enough to cover the therapy sessions Lily's family could never have afforded. The bikers hadn't come to take anything. They had come to give. The man who had been helped by Lily lowered himself to her level and told her softly, "You gave me dignity when I had none. Today we give it back to you." Lily's tears that day were not of pain but of being seen. She climbed into her new chair, fingers guided to the controls by her father, and felt the motor hum to life. For the first time, the world moved smoothly beneath her wheels. Her laugh came out small at first, then grew, light spilling through the memory of hardship. The children who had once mocked her watched, and for the first time they saw joy and strength, not limitation. Neighbors lingered on porches, changed by what they'd witnessed. The bikers stayed back, eyes softened, watching Lily glide down the street. They had arrived as thunder and left behind something gentler, but deeper, a restored sense of human worth, a lesson about looking beyond appearances. That night, Lily rested in her new chair, surrounded by her parents' softened faces. The weight of worry that had hung over their home seemed lighter. The chair sat quiet in the corner, not a symbol of limitation, but a token of possibility. What began with a single small act, an offered bottle of water and a phone call, became a wave that returned multiplied. It delivered more than mobility. It returned dignity, respect, and a renewed sense that a person who looks, acts, or lives differently is still, first and always, a person. If this story moved you, carry it forward. Somewhere, someone else's small act of kindness is waiting to be returned.